Hello, I'm Gary York, Corrections 1 contributor, and I'm here today to talk to you about crime scene preservation in the jail and the prison setting. Now, it seems very simple to block off a crime scene, keep everybody out, leave everything alone, but it's not that simple because we have many mistakes that occur during crime scene preservation. So we always need to be aware, and we need to think about what we're doing to protect a crime scene, because we know that in a case such as this, where we have a possible homicide or a possible suicide in a jail cell or a prison cell, we're going to probably go to court, and we're going to have to be with the state attorney's office and go to depositions, and we want to make sure that we look professional just like we are. The corrections field is a professional field, and when we go to court, we want to look sharp, look professional, and let the courts know that we know what we're doing when we have to deal with a crime scene. Now, I picked this particular cell because it's very small, and I did that on purpose because I can barely move around without touching anything. And some jail cells are this way, and some prison cells are this way. Everything's not open bay, and everything doesn't have 4 inmates to a room. So this is kind of a cramped space, regular sized jail cell, and we have a body, and we have some things in here. Now, once we are the first responder to the scene, what we need to do is call into our supervisors and lock down the entire prison or jail. Everything needs to be locked down. I know that there's different dorms throughout the prison, but we still lock down the entire prison, because as a prison inspector, I've done investigations where an inmate in dorm F was killed by an inmate who lives way across the compound in dorm A. So we're going to lock down the entire prison. And then what we're going to do is take every inmate in this corridor, in these adjacent cells, and we're going to remove them from this area, search them and remove them, and put them away separately so they cannot talk to each other. The reason we want everything locked down and the inmates in the area of the crime separated where they cannot talk is because eventually the jail detective or the prison inspector or your street detective is going to interview each and every one of these inmates in this dorm and ask them what they saw and what they know. We don't want them to have time to talk about what they're going to say. Now, we have to put crime scene tape up, as you can see right here. We have crime scene tape blocking off the area. EMS, emergency medical services, medical and your nurses, we have to allow them access in here. We have to make sure that this person does not have a chance to live. So your medical personnel are going to come in the crime scene, but we want to keep it limited to just 1 or 2. We don't need 4, 5, or 6 medical people in here. And once those 2 people are in, we let them do their job. And once they tell us that there's nothing more they can do, they need to go out of the crime scene and stay out until they're asked to come back in by someone. We're going to have a scribe posted at both entrances, at the end of this hallway, next to the cell, and at the end of the other hallway. We're going to write down every person and person's name that comes in this area and the time they came in. We're going to turn away people that are curious. A lot of officers and a lot of prison staff are going to be curious. We're not going to let them in. Only the EMS, medical personnel, and the jail detective, prison inspector, your crime scene technicians, when they arrive, of course, they're going to be allowed in. But we want to make sure we don't move anything. Everything must stay as normal as possible. Of course, the body was moved by EMS. We know that. There's nothing we can do about that. We want to try to get pictures along the way everything is sitting. So if anything does get moved, we have pictures to show where the blood splatter is, which is number 2, the body, number 1, pictures of a possible weapon, number 4, another possible weapon, number 5, and we have food over here, and we have a drink. We don't want to touch those either. Everything is evidence now and cannot be discarded or thrown away in any way, shape, or form. Every piece in this cell is a piece of evidence. This piece of food is now a piece of evidence. It has to go to toxicology. We don't know if there was poison in that food. This drink has to go to toxicology. We don't know if there was poison in that water. This piece of wood has to be bagged and tagged with date, location, and time that we bagged it and tagged it for evidence. It may be the murder weapon. We don't know. One of the biggest concerns that we have as a jail detective or a prison inspector is driving out to the prison when we're notified of a homicide in the jail or prison, and we get there and we find out that blood splatters have been mopped up. A lot of officers trying to do the right thing, feeling a biohazard issue, will mop this up, or they'll get orderlies to come with bleach water and they'll mop up the blood splatters and actually try to clean the crime scene. And I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, folks, but it's happened, and it's happened more often than you can imagine. So remember, nothing gets cleaned, nothing at all. Nothing gets thrown away. It's not anyone's decision what needs to be thrown away or cleaned up until after the prison inspector or the detective and the crime scene technicians have left the area, cleared the crime scene, and of course the body has been moved out of the cell by EMS. So let's make a simple process uncomplicated, and let's keep our crime scenes preserved so that when we do go to court, no one can say that the corrections officers messed up the crime scene. So we can go to court, testify to everything we did, and show them how professional we are. Plus, by keeping the crime scene safe and secure, we have a much better chance of solving the homicide and finding out who committed this crime. Thank you very much. Gary York, Corrections 1.